Yes. I'd like to introduce you to the title of the talk is Thriving in a Toxic World by Justin Zalewski. Close enough?
Thank you. I have to bring my own water supply because your water down here is fluoridated and I refuse to drink fluoridated water if at all possible. So my name's Justin Zalewski and I'm the author of the book Thriving in a Toxic World. And I started writing this book about 10 years ago because I wanted to write a book about health and nutrition. And what happened was I ended up opening up and going into a minefield where what I realized is that every single thing that we think in our society that's there to help us, almost every single one of them is there to control us. And we've got the pharmaceutical industry that control every aspect of our health and healing in any way they possibly can. And what they do is they buy cheerleaders and ex-models to wine and dine doctors and GPs and executives. They take them on exotic holidays, cruises, and they basically buy and control all of the information that we think that we're getting that is supposed to be impartial and for our better health. And all the regulatory agencies, you've got in America, you've got the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, the CDC, the FCC, the communications industry, all these different industries in Europe, the European Health Regulatory Authority, in the UK, the Medical Health Regulatory Authority or Board, I can't remember the exact name, and all these organizations that we believe are there to help us and to make sure we stay fit and healthy are absolutely controlled, corrupted, and rotten to the core. And any time you get sick, especially if anybody gets cancer, the only options you're ever going to get is cut, poison, and burn. And it's great to see so many people here that are actually willing to question the status quo, to open their mind and to consider other possibilities. Because if you get sick and you go down that conventional allopathic route, you're going down a path that has no escape. You're going to end up getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and you're going to end up completely and utterly destroying your health. Who here wants to live to at least 100 years of age? Do you know what the statistics are? The likelihood of any is ever reaching 100 years of age? 1 in 10,000. That's absolutely insane. Nowadays, we have the technology that we could easily live to 150 years of age, but all they're interested in is disease management, more control, subduing us so we don't question the official narrative. And any species in nature lives roughly about 7 times the amount that it takes to reach maturity. So if a human doesn't reach maturity until 20, we should actually be living to 140 years of age. But our food supply, the air that we breathe, the soil that we grow our foods in, everything is absolutely contaminated. And imagine a species that absolutely destroys the systems that support its life. It's absolutely insanity. And even the basic foods that a lot of people eat, who in here would eat chicken? Right. So unless you're eating organic chicken, your chicken's going to be full of growth promoters, antibiotics, steroids, and hormones. Years ago, it took 120 days for a chicken to reach maturity. Now they're doing it in 42 days. 42 days, like that's absolutely insanity. And one of the things I remember a few years ago was, anybody here familiar with Roger Waters' Pink Floyd, The Wall?
Yeah.
Right, you're giving your age away. So I went to a concert in Dublin to see Roger Waters play The Wall, that actual album. And in that video, if you can remember, from 1979, you'll see all the children walking along on the conveyor belt, and they're all falling off. And one thing you'll notice, that all those boys and girls are all around 13 or 14 years of age. And the thing is, now you're getting boys. And in that video, not one of those people, their children, had any breasts. And now you're getting children as young as 9, and some of the boys have got bigger breasts than the girls.
Yeah.
That's absolutely insanity. We're absolutely obliterating our life force within us. And everything's all about the convenience. It's about the price. It's about getting profit out of any situation. And then another thing that they do is, then if you go to somewhere like McDonald's, where they take the carcasses and they mechanically extract all the meat from the carcass. Then they take it up and it goes into this pink sludge. So then they add a chemical called dimethyl polysiloxane. And what is dimethyl polysiloxane? It's a ingredient that they put into silicone caulks and greases. It definitely doesn't belong in the human body, and it's used as an anti-foaming agent. They then bleach the chicken and they turn it white so that it looks like somebody would want to eat it. And so we're not eating food anymore. We're eating food, stuff that looks like food. And I'm only back from the States, sir. I flew in on Wednesday after traveling for 27 hours. I didn't get home till about 9 o'clock at night. But the biggest challenge I have when I'm over there is I can't eat the food. The food's genetically modified. And I remember 10 years ago being in Vegas, and I walked around for 2 hours and thinking, where am I going to get something to eat? Where am I going to get something to eat? And I really struggled, and I went, do you know what? A pizza couldn't be that bad. I'll take a chance on a pizza. I walked in and I got this pizza, and I ate it, and then after I had to go and get 2 litres of water to put the fire out. I was absolutely burning from the inside out, and like I have a really strong stomach and I never get sick. But the thing is, our food supplies are absolutely, totally and utterly polluted. The stuff that they're feeding us. Another thing that people do and use a lot of is microwave ovens, and you may not want to put your hands up. But if you're using a microwave oven, what you're doing is you're completely obliterating the life force within that food. How a microwave works is it vibrates the water particles at several million times per second, and it generates a lot of heat. And then when you eat that food, you put that into your stomach, and that process is still going on inside your stomach. So if you're eating microwave food, it is going to at least treble your risk of getting stomach cancer. Other thing as well is that if you want to do this very, very simple experiment, because the thing is, when people say things, you should always question what they say. And if it doesn't make sense, go and do the research. But most people don't want to do research. So what they'll do is they'll go to somewhere like Snopes.com, where lazy people go to do research. And what they'll do is they'll have the mainstream's agenda promoted and the outcome that they'd like you to believe. But do this very simple experiment. Go and buy 2 little plant pots that have, say, parsley or something out of the supermarket. Microwave the water, let it cool, water one plant for 7 days with the microwave water, get the other plant and just water it with your normal tap water. And what you'll find is, within 7 days, the plant that's getting watered with the microwave water will be totally dead. And people say, but you know, it's so convenient. And I say, but is the price of convenience worth the price of your health? And most people are so fixated on they need it faster, quicker, cheaper. And so what they're doing now is they're just reducing their lifespan. And anything that's on a shelf, the longer the shelf life on that product, the shorter your shelf life is going to be if you consume it. And if you're watching TV at any time, anything that they advertise that you can eat on TV, think about a place that's to warn you what you can't eat. If it's on TV, you can't eat it. You just can't eat it. There may be some bizarre, extreme exception, but in general, if it's on TV, you're not able to eat that food. It's absolutely going to be full of sugar, full of poisons, full of synthetic vitamins. And that's one thing that they do. They'll say, oh, fortified with vitamins. Anything that says fortified with vitamins means that they've put in synthetic vitamins because the food itself doesn't have anything of nutritional value in it whatsoever. And they're trying to convince you that their synthetic concoctions are equal to whole food, plant-based nutrition, and it's not. It's total and absolute junk. The thing is that we now live in a world where you can't trust the mainstream news, you can't trust the media. Censorship of Facebook is at an all-time high. You can't post things on Facebook. Everything that we're being fed now is in the extreme. I wrote that book and it took me 10 years to write it. And if I was to write it today, it would probably be at least 3 or 4 times harder if I could even write it. Because the information that I'm seeking, even though before I've had articles and I'm thinking I want to go back and I want to research or want to find that, those articles don't exist. I can't find them. They're being buried and suppressed. But the thing is that out there, they have, even outside today, they said there's going to be people out protesting. These pharmaceutical companies, these vaccine companies, these food companies have got paid armies of trolls that will come and harass you, will attack you, will criticize you, will ring the hotel, will ring Eventbrite and all these different people, and they will harass and intimidate anybody that dares to say anything that's outside their normal belief system. It's absolute insanity. One of the things that I really find is that I work with people a lot, and just out of curiosity, who in this room either has cancer or knows somebody in a close circle that has cancer or is unwell? Now, please just take a look around the room and see how many people have got their hands up. The majority of the room. And the reason is that everything that we're consuming is so artificial, so disconnected from nature, so poisoned, and nobody wants us to know what it is we're eating. Even supplements, who here takes supplements regularly? The problem is that 99% of the supplements that you're consuming are absolute crap, total and utter junk. And the problem is that people go to health food shops, and the stuff in health food shops is not healthy. I remember a few years ago, somebody was going to retire, and I was considering buying a health food shop. And when I walked in and looked at the ingredients and the products that they sold, I realized that 95% of what they had in there was total and utter junk. And all I was doing was buying the name, because I couldn't, in my conscience, sell that crap that they had in that shop. And the thing is, if you're not sure about supplements, it's very simple if you can write these down or even memorize them. But the people that are in it for the money use things like calcium carbonate, titanium dioxide, silicone dioxide, and magnesium stearate. I used to sell my own brand of supplements online. I had 150 products that were my brand, and I was only interested in the most highest quality, most amazing, nutritious food on the planet. I then went to a guy and I says, look, could you make me supplements if I give you like the formula, or I'll give you these just pure natural raw ingredients? And he says, well, it'll be that price if you want it without the junk. And I says, but why is it so expensive? He says, because in the machines, when we run them, we put in all these excipients, so it means the machines can run really fast. But if we sprinkle in these excipients, we can turn the machine away up and we can get 3 times the amount of stuff done in the same period of time. So if anybody's using those ingredients in any supplement that you buy, they're in it for the money, and they're not in it for your health and well-being. And it's really, really important to remember that. If you walk in, and if you go into the health food shops, you'll see brands like Solgar. And Solgar, S-O-L-G-A-R. And Solgar is probably one of the best known brands, and it's a complete counterfeit junk vitamin company selling the illusion of health. And one of the things that I noticed, one day I was in the supermarket. I don't know if you have Sainsbury's down in the south. You have Sainsbury's? Right, so in Sainsbury's, and I was walking past, and I just saw these security tag supplements for pregnant women. And I went, right, so I lifted it up, and they were like £20 or whatever. I thought, that's a lot of money. I turned it around and looked at the ingredients, and there was at least half a dozen really nasty, toxic ingredients. And I just thought, you know what? Any woman that's taking this shit is going to be doing herself far more harm than good. And so the whole market is rigged. We're living in this delusion. And even on Facebook one day, I posted an article about oil pulling. Is anybody familiar with oil pulling? So for those of you who are not, basically what you would do is you get a spoon of organic coconut oil, put it around in your mouth and swish it for 10 or 15 minutes, and you'd spit it out. And some toxins in your mouth are water soluble, and other ones are oil soluble. And so when you do that, it really does kill a lot of fungus, bacteria, mold, anything, and parasitic things in your mouth and spit it out. I posted that on Facebook, and they removed it because they said it was fake news. Like, how threatened is the system when something as simple and basic as oil pulling that can really, that they'll take that away? And one of the things, I don't know if any of us have heard of, those that are the hypnotists in the room have heard of Milton Erickson. He was one of probably the greatest hypnotists that ever lived. He's dead a long time now, but one of the things that he says is that patients are patients because of a lack of rapport with their unconscious mind. And the thing is that there's no reason for any of us to ever get sick, really. And I work with people I see sometimes with all sorts of illnesses. And if I talk to somebody that's got cancer, usually within a 3-minute conversation, and I can tell you with almost 100% accuracy whether that person will live or die. Because the thing that matters most is your psychology. where do you live emotionally? If you believe the doctor's God and the doctor says that you've got X amount of time to live, it's game over. And my mother died probably 3 years ago, and she thought the doctor was God. Like, no matter what the doctor said, she thought he was great. And she got cancer. We said to the doctor, do not tell her she's got cancer. We'll tell her. When we went home, the nurse told her, or the doctor told her. And in the end, they said, well, you've got 3 weeks or 2 weeks to live. She lived the exact amount of time that the doctor said, because the power of belief is absolutely phenomenal. If you believe, and the people that get sick are the ones that follow that medical religion. Will they do the cut, the poison, and the burn? If you get cancer, they will cut lumps out of you, they will poison you with chemotherapy, or they'll burn you with radiotherapy. Like, look at basic common sense. How can you poison a body back to health? How can you, like, have you ever seen anybody that gets chemotherapy? If something was helping, you would see an increase in their vitality and energy. Not this, like, if you've ever seen anybody that's got chemo, they get chemo brain, where they can't function. It's like they're semi-drunk all the time, their hair falls out, they feel like they've been hit like a truck, they have to lie down for days and days, and they get totally and utterly wiped out. But one of the things that I really learned was to have incredible rapport with my unconscious mind. So I can talk to my unconscious, and I can get it to do phenomenal things. So I'll tell you a little story about how I really got in really good rapport with my unconscious mind. Many years ago, I used to ride motorbikes. Anybody here like riding motorbikes? A few beggars. So I don't know if you know, but I used to ride a bike called an RG500. It was a 2-stroke 500cc bike. And this bike would do 150-mile-an-hour wheelies. And the only thing that I was magnificent at in my life was riding motorbikes. But anyway, I was riding this bike and doing all this stuff for years, and then I got rid of it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have to get rid of this bike before it gets rid of me. But then I didn't have a bike for 10 years, and then I got another bike called a KTM 660 SMC Supermoto. This thing didn't even have an ignition switch. It was a proper racing bike, Supermoto, but it was basic road legal. And so me being able to have that skill set for years, then went out on this bike one afternoon, and I come off one of those speed bumps, you know, it's supposed to slow you down on the side street, and I come off at about 70 mile an hour, and I braked for the corner, and the bike went right out like that, and it was nearly on the ground. I let go of the brake, and I got the bike back up again. I don't know how. By the time I got the brake back on again, I hit a curb, somersaulted, and landed in a garden. And I ended up ripping this finger open. I had the tendons hanging out. I got 12 stitches in that finger. I broke my left arm. I had a hole in my right leg. I had whiplash, concussion, visual distortions, and it's as if like somebody just turned the light up, like off the scale. And I felt after that, when I stood up, I felt I had 30 seconds of consciousness left before I was going to pass out. I just felt the life force just draining out of my body. But one of the things that allowed me to really reboot and get back into myself was I've been studying NLP, hypnosis, trance, other states of consciousness. When I was 16, I was taking massive amounts of magic mushrooms and LSD and stuff like that. I had this incredible awareness that all these different people were able to do spontaneous healings, or people that had surgery under hypnosis and were able to completely have that experience and feel no negative consequences whatsoever. So I had years and years and years and years of studying that and an incredibly detailed understanding. But the thing is that our unconscious minds always want to do what's best for us if we give it choices. It's just that most people have a very limited set of choices. But the thing was that I was able to have that experience, and I realized as I was closing down, I remembered that I had a drunk driver hit me head on many years beforehand. And when I did, I was in this state of shock where I felt really woozy. And somebody came from somewhere and handed me a glass of water. And when I drank that water, it completely grounded me. So I don't know if you've ever been at an accident and people run about and they're always freaking out and they're losing their minds and stuff. And I just thought, I can't, it's too much bandwidth for me, because I was in a state of, like, I suppose, shock. But I said to somebody, can you go and get me a glass of water? And they went and got me a glass of water. And in the meantime, I sat down. When I sat down, it took the demand off my body, and I was able to feel grounded and connected to myself. When I drank the water, I knew I wasn't going to pass out. So eventually then I was able to go and get somebody to go and get my father. and I was able to drive past 3 hospitals to walk into the hospital. When I walked into the hospital, I walked up to the receptionist and I said, I need to see a doctor. She says, oh, fill in these forms and can you do that? But I says, I've just been fallen off a motorcycle. And she just looked at me and she went, right. And she walked me straight in and they took me immediately. But they put me on the trolley for 5 hours because they thought I'd broken my back. Now, this is the thing. I had no pain whatsoever. My unconscious mind said to me at the time of the accident, I can handle this, and it kicked in. And so I was able to stay in this state of grace, even though my body was in shock. I had no pain whatsoever. And after 5 hours, they come up to me and says, oh, well, we need to give you morphine. I says, I don't want it. They says, but you have to take the morphine, you have to take the morphine. I says, I don't want it. And in the end, because they kept going on and on and on, I said, okay, I will agree to take 50% of what you want to give me. So I took the morphine and I'll never take it again. To me, it's one of those drugs that sort of take you down, close your consciousness down, and wasn't very pleasant. But the reason why I'm telling that story is, excuse me, is that for me, that was my unconscious mind kicking in and it was maintaining the whole experience. So a few months later, I wanted to get rid of the mercury in my mouth. Who here has mercury or silver fillings in their mouth? Please go to YouTube and watch a video called Smoking Teeth. It's an 8-minute video and it'll get you to realize just how toxic mercury is in your mouth. So I decided, right, I'm getting rid of all this mercury, which was, yeah, I don't know, at least, I think it was around 10 years ago. And I went into the dentist and I says, look, could you remove the mercury? So what they do usually is they'll do 1 quadrant at a time. So for whatever reason, I was getting to do the top and the bottom in one day. So I went in and I just went, well, if that happened and my unconscious could control that when I had an accident, I wonder, could I do this when I go to the dentist? Now, the thing is about going to the dentist is I had to get a tooth out once and I had to get 13 injections because I have the most incredibly sensitive teeth. My teeth are really sensitive, so I feel things really, really intensely. So I lay there and I hypnotized myself and I put myself in an altered state. And he was able to drill the bottom tooth, but it was bleeding badly, and I still felt about 20% of the pain. And one of the things is your expectation will determine your experience. If one of you were standing there and you weren't looking, and I walked up and I got a pin, and I just went, stuck it in your arm, it would hurt. But if I says, look, I've got this pin, it's really sharp, and I'm going to stick it in your arm, you're going to feel a lot of pain. Imagine the intensity of the difference of the experience. So your perception of that experience deeply influences what that experience is going to be like for you. So I was able to go to the dentist, and after I did that, I still 20% of pain getting teeth drilled. It was too much for me. I could still do it, but it wasn't nice. So after he says, look, I want to do your top tooth, he says, but it's deeper. And he says, we couldn't control the bleeding. I says, well, how long does it take for the anaesthetic to work? He says, about 5 minutes. So I said to my unconscious, do you know what? I want to do this experience. I don't want to feel any pain whatsoever. And I want you to stop the bleeding, unless it's an essential part of the healing process, because anytime you're working with your unconscious, you always want to make sure that you don't stop the healing process because the bleeding might be essential. So he started to do that. I said that to my unconscious, and he was able to drill the top tooth, and he was able to do that whole complete treatment. And I had no anaesthetic whatsoever, and I did not feel 1% of pain. But the thing was, I said to my unconscious back, and I says, what I need to do for you, and it says, don't eat any crap for 3 days. And I went, it's a deal. And I was able to do that and have that really powerful experience. Now, another thing that I would never, under any circumstances, recommend is a root canal. To me, if you get a root canal, you're better getting the tooth out. But back then, I had a tooth, and he said, look, you need to do a root canal. So I said, that's okay. He says, I'm going to have to anaesthetize you for it. I says, no, I'll do it without the anaesthetic. I says, how long does it take? He says, it takes about 30 seconds to get the root out. But when he started to drill, he found that it was a double nerve. And instead of taking 30 seconds, it took probably at least 3 minutes. And you can feel the drill going right down, right into your head. But I was able to have that full experience and not feel 1% of pain. Like, I cannot do pain, dental pain. It's really unpleasant. It's really one of the most intense pains. But the thing is, I was able to have that experience, remain completely and totally relaxed. And so the thing is that your unconscious mind is communicating with you at every moment of every day. But what do most people do if they get a headache? Who here would take painkillers? So that's like you driving down the road in your car and the oil light comes on and you take the bulb out and go, that's that problem solved. What you've done, and like I do a lot of talking, I'll say, who in here would like have the ability so they can never feel pain again? And look at the amount of people are sticking their hands up. That's insanity. That's like switching off your body's safety mechanism. And so there's these people that have a disease called congenital analgesia, and that is that they don't have the ability to feel any pain whatsoever. And these people rarely make it to adulthood, but if they do, they have a much shortened life expectancy. And pain is your friend. It's this beautiful communication from your unconscious mind to let you know that something's wrong. So when you've got a headache, why have you got a headache? Is it because you're too tired? Is it because you're stressed? Is it because you're dehydrated? Is it because you're eating toxic food? Whatever it is. But if you go and meditate and you sit and you become still, you'll start to tune into your body and you'll realize, you know what, I feel thirsty. Actually, I'll drink some water. Or, do you know what, one of the most powerful things you can do is take your socks and shoes off and walk outside in the damp grass and get yourself earthed. Earthing is a very powerful thing that really makes a massive difference. But the thing is that our unconscious minds always want to do what's best for it if you give it choices. The problem is that most people have very limited choices. And usually allopathics answer to anything is shoot the messenger and the problem's solved. All that's doing is dragging the problem deeper within yourself. And I see this cycle where people have painkillers and then they don't work and they take stronger painkillers and then they take stronger painkillers and then they take more until they're basically on stuff that's very close to morphine. And the problem with that is that you're basically trying to shut down the body's own intelligence rather than dealing with the underlying source that's generating the communication to let you know there's something wrong. And the thing is, like, at one stage I was on 85 planes and helicopters in 15 months. Sometimes I'm doing 20-hour days for 8 days in a row, and I never got sick once. Because this beautiful communication within myself will let me know how far I can push the boundaries and when I have to stop. So when I did a lot of traveling, I would come home and I would say to my unconscious, I know you may feel you want to sleep, but I need to do this or I need to process stuff. And then when I get home, I may allow myself to awaken naturally for 3 or 4 days and let my body's own natural rhythms decide when I will waken and when I will not waken. But the thing is that if you're taking any medications, what you're doing is you're masking the symptoms. And allopathic medicine is all about treating the symptoms, but it never deals with the underlying cause. The underlying cause is you've done something that's either poisoned your body, harmed it, or you're stressed, or whatever. And we're now living with insane levels of stress. I had a girl come to see me yesterday. I actually planned to leave to come down yesterday about 12 o'clock, but I had a girl come who was diagnosed with a brain tumour, and she was going today to find out what they were going to do, and she was in this really unresourceful place, but she had a headache when she was sitting with me, and I said, here, take a glass of water and see what happens. She drank the glass of water, and within 2 minutes the headache had gone. And sometimes it's the most basic, most simple things, but most people are dehydrated, and a majority of the world are chronically dehydrated, and we need water in our bodies for basic cellular communication. We need it for elimination. And if you're constipated, it's probably because you're not hydrated enough, because if you don't have enough water in your body's going, where can we get water, where can we get water? And it will reabsorb the moisture out of your bowels back into your body because it's craving to get water. And a lot of people are so toxic, and like one way to know if you're dehydrated or not is if you go to the bathroom and you pee, if your urine's not clear or light straw yellow colour, you're going to be dehydrated. And sometimes you go into the men's urinals, you look at it and you think that stuff's like dark yellow, and you think, oh my God, like these people must be absolutely rotten from the inside out. And the smell of them, you're thinking, oh my God, like what are they eating? But the thing is that there's basic simple things that we need to do to stay healthy. Very, very simple. We need to drink good quality filtered water. The water down here is full of fluoride. You can't drink it. It's closing down your pineal gland. It's really calcifying your body. It's just a horrible, horrible toxin. And you just can't drink that crap. If you want to be healthy, buy a water filter. Because if you aren't filtering your water, it's your body that's a filter. You must exercise. You're not designed to sit in front of a sofa for 6 hours a day watching No Hopers or EastEnders or whatever it is people watch and sit in that trance-like state. You need to exercise. You need to optimize your vitamin D levels. You must get sunshine, especially in Ireland. Like, we do not get much sunshine here, but any sunshine you get, you want to get as much of your clothes off as possible and get yourself exposed to the sun. But this is the thing. They'll tell you, oh, you'll get skin cancer. Oh, you better not go to the sun. What a total and utter load of bollocks. Like, we've been hearing this plan for thousands and thousands, if not millions of years. And like, it's only this recent epidemic. The reason why we're getting skin cancer is we're cutting those toxic chemicals that are in the commercial sunscreens, and then they're getting cooked and baked into your skin. But there is, if you do go out without any sunscreen on and you stand in the sun, once your skin goes the slightest colour of pink, you're maximising your body's ability to absorb vitamin D. And you really don't want to have a shower for 24 to 48 hours unless you have to. And if you do have a shower, don't use soaps or detergents or body washes. But if you really feel you need to, use a bit in your groin and under your arms, and that's it, and leave it alone. And that's still synthesising on your skin for 24 to 48 hours after. The other thing as well is that when you optimize your vitamin D levels, you need it for so many functions in your body. This is going to allow you to have incredible health and vitality, for you to build strong bones, for all these different cellular communication networks to happen in your body. Another thing we're doing is we're drinking out of plastic bottles. Like, I bring my own supply here. This is a Miron glass bottle. It's a very, very special sort of glass. It's deep, deep violet in colour. And to me, anything you put in here, it seems to amplify the energy within it and stuff. So I would drink this regularly. But most people are drinking out of plastic bottles. And the thing is, plastic bottles are leaching BPA or bisphenol A. And they're endocrine disruptors. So it's going to make men more feminine. And then what does it do? It upsets the women's balance between estrogen and progesterone, so people end up with too much estrogen or estrogen-like chemicals in their bodies. So women are ending up with massive reproductive problems. Men are losing fertility at an alarming rate. And a lot of men now, when you go to the doctor, say, oh, you don't have enough testosterone. It's not that you don't have enough testosterone, it's that you've got too much estrogen or estrogen-mimicking chemicals in your system. And we need to get that crap out. And like, even heavy metals, you can get those out of your bodies. I'm up every morning, usually at 6:30. I drink a pint of warm water. I walk for 30 minutes. I come back and I meditate for an hour to an hour and a half every day. I go to the gym for 30 to 45 minutes. Then I come back and I sit in my sauna, an infrared sauna, for an hour. And then after that, I'll sit and I'll eat the most nutritious superfoods on the planet. And so when you do that, it allows you to feel absolutely amazing, that you thrive, you've got incredible health and vitality. And so I spend 9 hours a day on myself, make myself feel amazing. I spend 8 hours a day working, doing writing research and working with clients, and I spend 7 hours a day sleeping, and that's how I divide my day up. But infrared saunas, anyone in here got an infrared sauna? 1 or 2? Excellent, absolutely magnificent. When you go into an infrared sauna, once you raise your core body temperature by just 1 degree, your body will start to kill cancer cells very rapidly, because cancer cells are not healthy cells and they can't take extremes of temperature. So what I do is I go into the sauna, I sit there for an hour and I raise my core temperature way up. And then what I do is I get out and I get the most freezing cold shower I can. But I can only stay in it for 3 or 4 minutes because my shower drains that slowly that it would overflow after 4 minutes. So, but the thing is, what you're doing is you're giving yourself an incredible cardiovascular workout. So you're dilating all your vessels in your body and then you're slamming them shut again. And that helps your body mobilize toxins. And the quickest way to get toxins out of your body is through your skin. And like, this is the most crazy, insane thing, is most women, the average woman has 550 chemicals on her body every day. 550 chemicals. And that's been normalized. And then you get ads where they're promoting this stuff, well, because you're worth it. Like, what does that actually translate to at a deep level of psychology? If you don't buy an overpriced toxic product, you don't value yourself. So to prove that you value yourself, you have to be worth it and buy our crap. But those things are carcinogenic and teratogenic, which means it'll harm the unborn child. And we're bombarded. One of the things as well that I see as well, a lot of women are getting breast cancer. Seriously, if you want to reduce your risk of getting breast cancer for the women, it's very simple. Try and stop wearing synthetic nylon, polyester, man-made fiber bras. Wear organic cotton bras. If you're wearing a bra and it's underwired, you know the wire that's in the bra? That wire is like a little antenna. So when you walk into the Wi-Fi or you get on an airplane, that's just attracting that radiation into your breasts very, very strongly. And another thing is that women wear bras and then their breasts don't get to move naturally. So you've got all these, your lymphatic systems, your lymph nodes, and all these little ducts and stuff all around your breast area. And what happens is that when you wear bras that restrict that movement, then you spray antiperspirants and deodorants onto your arms. Then the toxins that are normally in your body that would be eliminated onto your arms by sweating can't get out of the body. Then the lymphatic system and all the drainage around the breast, it can't move because it's restricted. And next thing, where do the toxins settle? In the fatty tissues around the breasts. And so women now are getting lots and lots of breast cancers. Then they go to the doctor saying, oh, doctor, I've got a lump. That's okay, we'll send you for a cancer-causing mammogram. And then they'll violently squeeze the breast so hard that even if you did have a tumour, it's liable to burst. And they cause massive amounts of pain. And what you're doing is you're increasing your risk of getting cancer significantly. And mammograms have a false positive rate of, there's a 40% chance that the mammogram will tell you you've got cancer when you don't. There's a 40% chance of telling you you don't have cancer when you do. And you put yourself through a very barbaric treatment for very, very, if at best, poor results. But there are other healthy alternatives called thermography, where it will detect tumours probably like 6 years before a mammogram would. They're non-invasive, they don't hurt. The only thing is that you can't get it on your health service because it's not as profitable as all the radiation-causing machines. And so you'll have to pay for that privately, and it would probably cost you €200 to €300, but it's well worth it, and it's not going to harm you. But the solution, no matter what it is, like I was talking to a lady the other day, and she has cancer of her lungs and her cervix. And so they want to go in and they just want to chop out all her reproductive organs, and they give her a biopsy in one of her lungs and her lung collapsed. So she felt horrible. She went home. And then I spoke to her after I'd heard this. And so she went 2 weeks later when she got better again, or 3 weeks later, and they did another biopsy in the other lung. And they collapsed the other lung, and now she feels horrible. And I says, are you going to do their treatment? She says, no. Well, I says, what's the point of even going down to find out whether you have whatever it is if you're not going to do their treatments? And so this is the thing. A lot of people are so afraid that, oh, well, I need the certainty. And if you need the certainty, you're going to pay a very, very high price for that, because they're going to x-ray you, they're going to fill you full of chemicals, they're going to give you radiotherapy or cut bits out of you. And the thing is, we can heal ourselves. We have this incredible ability within ourselves. The cure to every single disease is a very powerful and a very strong immune system. That's the cure to every disease. But the thing is, we give our bodies massive burdens. By default, our bodies are always want to repair themselves. When you get out of the road, your body will heal itself effortlessly. But when you've got stress, you've got Wi-Fi, you've got LED lights. Who in here has the old incandescent bulb still in their house? Brilliant, brilliant. And that's actually a lot higher than I thought. All those LED lights are really hard on your eyes. They're burning your retinas out, and they're going to cause blindness. Those energy-saving bulbs are full of mercury, and again, they're really hard on your eyes. You need to go back to the old incandescent bulbs, the bulbs that you used to have 20 or 30 years ago.
But they're very hard to get.
They're very hard to get. So if you go onto eBay, you'll get them, and you'll buy 12 bulbs for £10 delivered. And you want to get the clear ones, not the obscure glass ones. It's really important that you get those in the house. If you've got a microwave, you need to throw it out. Seriously, the only thing you can use a microwave for is heating plates. That's the only thing. Or as an ornament or something, but other than that.
They're good at disinfecting tea towels as well.
Pardon?
Tea towels.
Oh, disinfecting tea towels, possibly. So, another thing is that like, people now live in this nanosecond world where they want stuff instantly. They won't delay gratification. Another thing that's going to happen soon is we're all going to be harassed with this plague called Christmas, where they ring the bell and everybody goes into a shopping frenzy and a trance. And you go into Tesco's and you're pushing around and they can't even see over the trolley, it's so bunged. And they're going along. And like, the shop is open the next day after Christmas. How are you going to eat all this food? Like, and people think like, but you must like Christmas. I have no interest in it. I used to get on a plane and disappear, but now they've realised that people want to escape Christmas. The fares when the children are off school go through the roof. So I don't spend a penny on Christmas at all. And I walk down in January and go, what do I need? Right, I'll have that at half price, I'll have that at half price. And if you go down near the end of January, it might even be a quarter of the price. And the thing is, do we need so much of this superficial crap to acknowledge the magnificence of who we are? Like, do we need to go into this debt-crazed insanity to make ourselves feel good about ourselves? So many people I know go through Christmas and they will go out and put themselves thousands of pounds in debt. For what? So that the children will have more and more superficial crap that disconnect them from reality. Like most teenagers now, you can't get them off their computers. They don't. When I was a child, when you were out at Christmas, you couldn't go out up the street because the bicycles would have knocked you down. Like, you could drive down the road on Christmas Day now and there isn't a person on the streets. The bicycles are just something people don't buy anymore. It's all this latest, greatest, shiny, glitzy technology. And we're getting more and more disconnected from reality. Has anybody any idea how much time we've got here?
Another 30 minutes.
Another 30 minutes, great. Let's get another drink of water. Another thing that's really, really harmful is mobile phones and electromagnetic radiation. I see teenagers taking phones and sticking them in their bras over their hearts. And for the guys in the room, I want you to really hear what I'm going to say. When you put a mobile phone into your pocket, just stick it in your pocket for 30 seconds, 40% of your sperm have been neutered. 40% of your sperm have been neutered within 30 seconds. That's how powerful these things are. And I remember once a guy flew, I think from Texas to see me, and he was a biobiologist, so he used to, measure the efficiency of houses and the radiation and stuff. And we got an iPhone 3 back then, and we measured the radiation about what the safe limits were. Now, the safe limits to me, I think, are ridiculously low. Ridiculously high. They allow you to have far more radiation than you should ever be allowed. When this phone was making a call, it was giving off 200 times the amount that the safe limit was. These technologies are marvelous, but the problem is that they are really causing massive damage to your bodies. If you have a mobile phone, try and get it out of your pocket and set it down as soon as you can. If you're a woman, carry it in your bag, do not put it in your pocket. If you must make a call, set the phone down, don't even touch it and have it on loudspeaker. If you're in a building and you need to take a call and you need privacy, hold it at least half an inch off your ear and just say, look, I'm busy, I'll ring you back in a few minutes. But don't be doing. I remember years ago lying in bed one night for 3 hours talking to somebody on the phone with the phone lying against my head, not realising what I was doing. And the thing is, we live in this world where technology can be amazing, but the problem is there are so many negative side effects and consequences from it. Like, part of my house is hardwired, but we really need to get off the Wi-Fi and get hardwired if we possibly can. If that's not easy for you to do, at least when you go to bed at night, switch off the Wi-Fi. Even, I have a Mac computer, and even though the Wi-Fi is switched off, that computer is still going, where's the Wi-Fi, where's the Wi-Fi, where's the Wi-Fi? And it's searching and putting out radio waves. I have an EMF meter and I checked it, and it's still quite high. And when you switch it off, the EMFs in my house drop to almost zero. Another thing I've been doing is I've been sleeping on an earth bed for at least probably 6 or 7 years now. So my bed sheet has over 1/2 mile of silver thread on it that's connected to the earth. And so one of the things is I used to sell supplements, a lot of supplements, and one of the antioxidants I used to sell used to cost about £70. And the thing is, you'll make more antioxidants by walking barefoot in the damp grass than you will by taking the most expensive supplement ever. At any time you feel pain, go and walk barefoot, preferably in the damp grass, or any as are at the beach, go and walk barefoot along the seashore. Like, who here feels absolutely great walking barefoot at the beach? I mean, why? There is a science behind it. You are actually reducing massive amounts of free radicals, and you're making a huge amount of antioxidants that make you feel really connected to the earth. We are not designed to be insulated from the earth. We need to have our bare foot on the earth as much as we possibly can. And when we're so disconnected, and one of the guys that really got into this, a guy called Clint Ober, he was like a satellite salesman in America, and he went around and he couldn't get good signals on certain satellites, and he couldn't figure it out, and eventually he went and he earthed these appliances, and when he did, he was able to get really high quality pictures. And he just thought, I wonder what would happen if you did that with humans. And he started doing research, and as usual, just like Trevor said earlier about the conspiracy theorists, they laughed at him and treated him like a total idiot, only to realize after they did lots and lots of research and thermography and stuff, to realize, wow, this guy's really onto something. And so that term, conspiracy theorist, was originally developed by the CIA years ago to make anybody that questioned the official story look like they're some sort of nut job. But the thing about it is, so many of the things that we've been told that, oh no, yeah, that's not true, and you're just being paranoid, or you're a conspiracy theorist, how many of them have become true? Dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of them. Who here remembers, or old enough to remember, years ago, the tobacco industry used to use doctors to promote cigarettes as a health product? Now, how dare you question the medical religion back then? And that's the thing. Years ago, they used to drill holes in your head to let out demons. Or they stuck an ice pick in through your eye because some people stuttered. They used to cut a pizza slice amount out of their tongue, thinking that would cure stuttering. And most of the people bled to death. Or you've heard the term, especially in America, like, don't blow smoke up my ass. That's a very real medical treatment, where years ago, they used to call it a smoke enema, where they got smoke and they blew it up your ass. Now, imagine you were a doctor back then and you just said, you know what, I think that's total bullshit. Like, you'd been hung for daring to question the authority of that medical priest and his wisdom. And the thing is that, see, that treatment is going to look like a highly advanced technology compared when they look back in history and they see the barbaric stuff they did with chemotherapy and radiotherapy and the horrible treatments. And this is the thing, like, even when people get cancer, like, there's another wonderful, there's so many different treatments that make a massive difference. One of the things I see people doing is taking cannabis oil. Now, cannabis oil is absolutely magnificent for treating cancer, but it needs to have the THC and the CBD in it. Yeah. And there's over 500 compounds in cannabis, and many of them are still not being researched. But the thing about it is, and this is the thing, the biggest mistake I think people do is, I've got cancer, I'll take the cannabis oil and I'm going to be okay. I'm still going to eat the microwave food, I'm still going to put sugar in everything that I eat, I'm still going to eat processed foods, I'm not going to hydrate, I'm not going to exercise, I'm not going to do anything else. It's a wonderful tool, but you must be willing to participate in your own rescue. And most people are trained to think that what do they want? They want the quick fix. They want the instant gratification. And if you want the body of an athlete, you must live the lifestyle of an athlete. but people are sitting in front of the TV like a couch potato. And so they're watching and they're selling the illusion of the quick fix. And that selling that illusion is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And so without any judgment whatsoever, every one of us in this room, our bodies are a perfect reflection of what we do to it on a daily basis. If you exercise a lot, if you eat good foods, that's fine. If you're sitting with a disease or a chronic inflammation, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize what it is that they're doing that's causing these problems, because people think, well, if the government says it's okay to eat that, one of the things that I see people eating as well is like damaged oils. One of the things that I find now incredibly is people are on statin drugs. I had to go for a medical 4 years ago. I have a license to drive articulated lorries, the HGV class 1s. I've never used it in my life, but I did it when I was 21 for fun. But once you hit 45, they won't let you renew the license unless you go for a medical. And I went into the doctor's and I did the medical, and he says, that's the fastest medical I ever have done in my life. And I ended up talking to him. And this doctor was younger than me, and he was on statin drugs. And I started talking to him, and I says, well, the reason you're on statin drugs is because when you eat damaged fats and oils, what that does is it starts to scar the inside of your arteries. And as a protective mechanism, your body then produces cholesterol to buffer the side effects of the damaging oils that are ripping you apart inside. And so then they read you and they go, oh, you've got high levels of cholesterol. And so when you do that, they then give you statin drugs to lower the cholesterol. And I said to them, you're going to have brain fog. I said, you're going to have problems getting an erection. You're going to be confused at times and all that stuff. And he was looking at me. And he was in total shock. And I ended up talking to him for 20 minutes. The only thing I forgot to say going out the door is, look, if you want to come and see me for a session, we can sort it. And it was just one of those things. I just didn't expect to have this conversation with the doctor. But because I said a lot of things, I used his medical terminology, and I was able to read every symptom and tell him what was going on. You could just see like this unconscious software update taking place that, you know, he was trying to process because it was such a big chunk size to him. But he knew that especially when he tested me, and I think my cholesterol levels were incredibly low. I don't even bother with that stuff. I just said, "Oh, let me do it." But the thing is that we can have incredible health and vitality by doing simple things. Get off the Wi-Fi, get the phone down, get rid of the bulbs, exercise, drink the water, eat good foods. And one of the things I do every January after I would eat some of the crap at Christmas, because I eat very healthily. I drink green juices, I eat superfoods every single day that I possibly can. But see, when it comes to Christmas and people saying, oh, we'll have a bit of cake, and I will eat that crap. And I know it's total and utter crap. But in January, I will go and I'll spend a week cleaning my liver. Who in here has ever done a liver cleanse? The Andreas Moritz version? Possibly, no? So basically it takes 7 days to clean your liver. Now, I was doing a talk in the Millennium Forum in Derry about 5 years ago. And I got somebody to test my biological age. And back then, I was 49 and I was able to get my biological age tested, and I tested to that. I had the cells in the body of a 14-year-old. And a week later, I was speaking in the Waterfront Hall in Belfast, and I just went, you know what, that guy's going to be there. I'm going to see if I can lower my biological age. So I did my green juices every day, my meditations, my walks, my sauna, my nice and flush. But somebody invited me out for dinner on the Friday, so I had the usual restaurant crap with a cheesecake. And on the Sunday, I went and I got my biological age tested. And he was looking at me and he was laughing, he was turning it around, he wouldn't let me see. And I says, come on, what is it? And he turned it around and it was 10. So I was able to take 39 years of the actual cells, the age of my body. It's a very accurate system. But the thing is, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't eat microwave food. They're all deal breakers for me. You know, I exercise every day. I do a sauna every single day I possibly can. I meditate every day. And the thing is that the difference that will make the difference, and this is, I see a lot of people, and some of them are going to be dead in less than a week. They're just so sick, so poisoned, so utterly polluted. And the difference that makes the difference really is you'll never be truly healthy ever unless you do this one thing. And that is make health your number one value. And I would ask people, can you write down your top 5 values? And they'll say friends and family, happiness, my job, my career, whatever it is. And health's not even on their list. And in our hierarchy of values, if you value money more importantly than your health, you'll go and you'll get the money, you'll say, oh, sure, I'll deal with that after. And when you have incredible health and vitality, that's an amazing foundation that anything you want on top of that. So it means that you never get sick another day in your life again. It means that you have this abundance of energy. Like I was talking to somebody the other day and I says, well, you've traveled for 27 hours, like you're going down here, will you not be tired? And I says, no, absolutely not. And if I had to be here straight from coming off the plane for traveling for 27 hours, I'd have stepped up on stage and I'd have still done this. Now my body would feel the impact of flying, but it wouldn't compromise my ability to think clearly and feel grounded. And I would borrow reserves because I have huge energy reserves and alkaline reserves in my body that I can stay strong and have incredible health and vitality. But it is doing those things each and every day and making health your absolute number one value. This is something that is not hard to do, but you really need to get off all pharmaceutical drugs. They are really masking the symptoms and they're treating the symptom and never dealing with the cause. And the most important thing when those people that come to see me that have got cancer, whether they're going to live or die, is where do they live emotionally? If you've got unresolved emotional issues, you need to find somebody that's really skilled to work through them and release those. Because if you believe you're not a good person, you believe you're not good enough, you believe that you're not worthy, you believe that whatever story you tell yourself, that will keep you trapped in dysfunction. And it's really important to really look after your emotional well-being more than anything whatsoever. It's absolutely crucial. And that's the thing, when you ask most people, like, well, how do you feel about yourself? And I'll just be curious, who in here truly feels peace with themselves and loves who they are? Far less than half the audience. And this is the thing, is that we need to find peace within ourselves. There's no amount of external crap is ever going to allow us to feel good or happy. And most people grew up in a crazy family where, who in here was the black sheep of the family and didn't fit in? We question reality. We look outside the box. We know that there's something's not right, and we question reality. Yeah, 5 minutes. So, yeah. So it's 5 minutes now. Right, so we have 5 minutes left. If anybody wants to ask any questions, shout. But
you have 5 minutes for the talk, but then leave 10 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes that's okay, right. So I tell you what I'd like to do just for the last 5 minutes is, I just want to tell you why I was in the States and just share something with you that I think is incredibly valuable. I got to meet a guy called Kenneth Cousins of the Pantera de Oro Private Society. And this guy has spent 40 years along with his wonderful partner, Andrea, and he's learned how to vacate that system. All those bonds where we're trapped to the government with their taxes, with all the fees they take off us, all the stealth systems that they have to harvest money off us at every available opportunity. And he's learned how to vacate that system and how to be a completely independent, sovereign person and vacate that system. And the thing is that from when we're born, our mother registers our birth, and on that birth certificate it says name of informant. It doesn't say mother, it says informant. And you register at birth, then that is taken and sold on the stock market, and that's how they create the national debt. They'll say, well, wee Johnny here is likely to earn €1 million in his lifetime. So there's our bond that we will pay back through the national debt. And we are enslaved through all these corrupt institutions. And when the likes of banks do stuff and they get themselves in the bother, the people who they've robbed in the first place have to end up bailing them out. And so until we truly vacate all of the contracts that are stealthily keeping us enslaved, we're never going to vacate this system. And who here's watched the movie The Matrix? Who feels they're actually in that movie and they're trying to escape from it.
Yeah.
We are enslaved beyond belief. And every system that they have between the church, between the Vatican, between the City of London and Washington, D.C., they just control every aspect of our lives if you let them. Now, I personally don't participate in that system, and I pay absolutely nothing to anybody. I don't pay parking fines, bus lane fines, council tax or property tax. I don't pay any of those things whatsoever, TV license, and it's all a scam and an offer to contract. And when you understand how that system works, you know, like who decided that, you know what, I've painted 2 yellow lines out there now, so if you park on them, I'm going to harvest you. We need to vacate ourselves from the madness of that matrix. And that guy, Kenneth Cousins, really seems to have got a massive insight into what it takes to get out of that system. And it takes years because we're so bonded layer after layer. And it's really difficult. It's not an easy job, but you need to start that process and get away. And I can't remember, it was a book Mr. Fuller said, is it, you know, create a new system so great that the old system becomes obsolete. Now, it may not be a verbatim quote, but the thing is, we need to create a new reality. We need to step out of this bondage, and we need to reclaim our true essence of who we are. Like, we weren't born in this magnificent consciousness just to pay bills and work to eat, and that's all we get to do. I mean, this experience in life is so magnificent. There's so much out there to do. We have so much power to manifest and create, but they keep us trapped like in a never-ending slavery and system of bondage. And it is time to awaken from the trance, reclaim your health, reclaim your vitality, open your minds, and totally like realize that there's so much more out there when we choose to question and we start to move forward in a way that empowers us and allows us to, I don't know, have this quality of life where you can have so much connection with other people. One of the things that they do all the time, you'll hear these debates about climate change. You know, one side will go, well, the climate is absolutely dreadful, and somebody else will go, no, it's not. And then it's this complete divide and conquer. And so one side will believe they're right, and the other side will believe they're right. But that's just a scam created to keep us distracted. Now, I imagine you ask these questions. Are we polluting the planet by putting lots of carbon dioxide out of cars that are highly polluting? Absolutely. Are we poisoning the earth with pesticides and chemicals that are really bad? Are we poisoning people with pharmaceutical drugs? Absolutely. And they're the questions that you can absolutely get a very clear answer to, and it's not debatable. But this, oh, look at this and look at this, we're just being pulled and divided in so many different ways. Right? That's okay. So anybody, any questions that they'd like to ask? If you could just wait for maybe, is there a microphone there? This guy at the back.
I just wondered if you know anything about the farmed fish, because I think that's a massive problem now, and they're not allowing to get into the news about it. And the other thing is the vegetable oils, basically the canola oil, causes blindness. It blocks up the little tubulin behind the eye. And that has been out in America for a while, and I think Australia brought it out as well. But nobody's covering that either. And these things are really important, because they'll tell you that rapeseed is, you know, a better thing to take and all that, but we know that it is only fit for oil machinery.
Yeah. So farmed fish is absolutely toxic. So not only have you got the growth promoters, the antibiotics, the steroids and the hormones, but in fish, because it's so unnatural, one of the things they do is they then dye the fish as well. But the problem is that a lot of people, I don't know who in here eats seafood of any kind. So I don't know if you've heard of Fukushima. Many years ago it blew up. Fukushima is pumping out 300 tons of radioactive waste into the sea every single day. Now, why does America not shout and scream about it and freak out? Because General Electric made their reactors, and so America hasn't made much noise about it. But they're pumping out 300 tons of radioactive waste, and the problem is that they try to send machines in to deal with that problem, and machines just blow up because once they get within, I don't know, 50 meters or 100 meters of it, the machines just blow, the robots blow up. So it's going to have to take somebody physically to walk in, and they'll be dead probably within a few hours. But the thing is, for me, they're dumping all sorts of chemicals, toxins into the sea, radioactive waste, plastics. To me, you just can't eat anything out of the sea. Maybe a bit of dulles if you got it off the west coast of Ireland and it's been in some obscure inlet where these tides can't flow. But any oil, even canola oil or any of those oil, they're furring up our arteries and our blood supply. So the first nerves, the most sensitive nerves in our body are our eyes, our optic nerves. So if you're taking any of that stuff, the processed oils of any kind, the only oils really that I would recommend that are really highly nutritious is probably Udo's oil, Udo Erasmus. He makes a really amazing, good quality oil, and you want to take, 2 or 3 spoons out a day.
How do you spell it?
UDO''S. You'll get it in good quality health shops. It's always in the fridge, and it's in an orange box. Udo Erasmus. Any other questions? It's the guy here. Yep.
The whole thing about alkalining your body, is that something, with alkaline water or plants or all of that thing?
So it's really important to alkalize your body. The human body's natural pH level should be 7.365, but most people are highly acidic. And so things that cause huge amounts of acidity in your body are stress, coffee, sugar, alcohol, and stuff like that. But to me, if you want to alkalize your body, absolutely green juices. So I would take organic celery, organic cucumber, a piece of ginger and a piece of garlic, and I would juice that in a really high quality juicer. And I would, sometimes it depends who's drinking it, I would put an apple in it just to take the edge off it a bit, and I would drink that, and that's absolutely amazing. Another thing is, the nettles, the stinging nettles that grow in your garden. If you can take the fresh shoots of those and juice those and drink them, they're absolutely magnificent for you, off the scale. But alkaline water, we hear about these water machines that alkalize water. Personally, I don't drink it, and anybody through kinesiology that ever goes to get tested for drinking that alkaline water always tests negative, so it doesn't agree with them. So that's just my personal opinion. I've taken the water, it's okay, but I personally wouldn't drink it. Anybody, other guy at the back there, yeah?
Hi, Justin.
Hi.
Great talk, by the way.
Thank you.
A couple of things I've picked up from your presentation. You've mentioned about health food shops. So my research led me to believe that GNC and Holland and Barrett, from the UK, from England, they're owned by the Carlyle Group, which are actually a arms manufacturer. So they've obviously not got your best interest at heart, right?
Yeah.
And is it correct that the titanium dioxide actually nullifies the nutrition content of the vitamins anyway?
Yes, so these different supplements that put in the titanium dioxide, titanium dioxide is used to brighten it, but it's just really detrimental to your body. A lot of these different things, one of the things they'll do is your digestive tract have these little hairs called villi that reach out and take in the nutrients. When you take this stuff, it coats your intestines with this stuff, so you could be eating the most organic food on the planet, but if you're not absorbing it, then you're not getting the benefit of it, and so your whole digestive tract gets coated with these chemicals, so they're really detrimental. Holland and Barrett isn't a health food shop, it's a sweet shop. And I'm not kidding.
You're talking about radiation, obviously microwave is radiation as well, right? Water, very, very important. My research would led me to believe again that you're better off getting a water distiller or a reverse osmosis system, because all gravity filters will eventually fail.
Well, I have a gravity filter in my house. I also have a water distiller. I think the best system on the market is an atmospheric water generator, that they basically suck the moisture out of the air and they can purify it, and you can then add in options like ozone light. You can put carbon block filters and stuff in. The thing is that any filter's better than no filter. Even a little Brita jug's better than nothing. But yes, the only thing I don't like about reverse osmosis is that it wastes an incredible amount of water. But atmospheric water generator, they're about a couple of grand, but they're absolutely magnificent, and they're the purest form of water on the planet.
the distillation is very, very pure. You can test it with a ppm.
Yeah.
And that's still like 40, 50 quid on eBay.
Yeah, the thing as well with distilled water is one person will say, listen, distilled water will strip your body from minerals and it's really harmful. Other people say, no, it's the purest water on the planet. Now, Dr. Brian Clement of the Hippocrates Health Institute in Florida, who I have such admiration for, they've been dealing with people that, like, I don't know, was it 50,000 people over the years that have went through that system and have had incredible stories of healing. He would drink distilled water every single day, where the likes of Dr. Mercola would say, oh no, you shouldn't drink distilled water. To me, I think it's a personal choice. I take it occasionally, but I trust my intuition and I would drink it occasionally. I don't feel that I would like to drink it every day. But one of the things, I think the purest water on the planet, if you can get it, is spring water, not well water, but spring water. And one of the world's leading authorities is a guy called Victor Schauberger. Anybody heard of Victor Schauberger? That guy, he is the Einstein of water. And to me, you know, you want to sort of get a vortex and spiralize the water if you can. I prefer spring water when I can get it. I mean, I have a house in Donegal, and luckily enough, half a mile away, there's a local spring. And so I just go down and I drink nothing but spring water. And when I go anywhere, I always bring my own supply.
Dr. Emoto as well. So
yeah, Dr. Masaru Emoto, an absolute incredible guy. Pity I never got a chance to meet him. He died a few years ago. But one of the things that they say about water as well is that water has such consciousness. And when they were playing music to this water, you know, they got these beautiful crystals, and when they played horrible music, the crystals all fragmented. And the thing about it is, the human body is 70 to 80% water. Now imagine the negative thoughts you think or the negative things you say. They're affecting us so deeply on a cellular level. So every thought truly does count. Anyone else?
How do you remove the titanium dioxide that you said?
Just let the guy, just so we can have it recorded for the video.
This is the last question, folks. Okay.
It was really just more of what his question was. Once that titanium dioxide's coated your insides, how do you get rid of that?
So what you want to do, things that really help your digestive tract, is things like fermented vegetables, really high quality probiotics. Not those things that you get in supermarkets that say they're full of probiotics, but what they really are sugar bombs dressed up with something else. So eating a really fibrous, healthy plant food based diet. If you must eat meat, make sure it's organic, because if it's not, it's going to be full of all the growth promoters, antibiotic steroids and hormones. And again, get out in the sunshine, vitamin D, drink good quality water. And when your body always wants to go back to a state of equilibrium. And when you eat really good food, it really will that's the difference, it makes the difference. All right, thanks for listening. Cheers.